Morning Drive, brought to you by Golf Pride.
And a very good Sunday morning. It is Morning Drive. I am Gary Williams, very pleased to be alongside Matt Adams. You can listen to his wonderful radio program, Fairways of Life, Monday through Friday, anywhere in the world. Jaime Diaz, one of the great writers in the game of golf and the world of sports. And John Cook, 21 wins on the PGA Tour and PGA Tour champions. And guys, live golf returns to the world today, and we're very privileged that we're going to be able to bring it to you later on this afternoon. And it's going to begin on the first tee at fabled Seminole Golf Club. World number one Rory McIlroy teaming alongside Dustin Johnson are going to take on Ricky Fowler and Matthew Wolff in a skins game match, that format, the TaylorMade Driving Relief, to benefit all of the people who are saving lives by putting their lives on the line, and millions of dollars, Matt, going to be raised later on this afternoon. Give us an idea, the details of how this match is going to unfold a couple hours from now.
Well, Gary, the two teams are going to be competing in a better ball skins game format. That means each team will start with $500,000 in the bank. The remaining $2 million will be played for during the 18-hole match. Holes 1 through 6 are each worth $50,000. Holes 7 through 16, $100,000 each. The par 3 17th will be worth $200,000, and the 18th hole will be worth $500,000. If no one wins the skins on that 18th hole, time permitting, the teams will play a shortened 17th hole or conduct a closest to the hole contest there to determine the winner. So those are the numbers. Let's dive into the history of one of the most exclusive and relatively unknown courses in the United States in the Seminole Golf Club, as the world will lay eyes on it for the first time later on this afternoon. Gary, you've got a really cool history with Seminole. You were a Class A PGA professional there in the 90s, a first assistant. Tell us a little bit about what the experience was like for you.
You know, I was there for 2 seasons, and I made the choice, and it was a conscious choice, to get out of the golf business in that respect after the 1995 season. But my 2 winners, my 2 seasons at Seminole, provided me with a very rich life. My first round of golf there as a member of the professional staff was with Rayburn Tucker, who was Ben Hogan's, he was Hogan's boy, really. Jimmy Dunn, who is the current president of Seminole Golf Club, his first round as a member, it was just me and him 25 years ago on a late spring day of 1995. It culminated with us diving in the Atlantic Ocean, and along the way, from princes to presidents, from 007, Sean Connery, who came annually for the Gold Niblick, which is the great member guest tournament that is held there. They have wonderful championship golf tournaments that are held there for their members and their guests. And when Sean Connery arrives, it's pretty darn special. And he didn't like golf. He was passionate about the game, hit countless golf balls before and after his practice rounds and the competitive rounds played there with his very dear friend David Kirkland, who was the member. And he loved soaking up in the cascading showers at Seminole Golf Club in the locker room. From Baryshnikov to 007 and all the captains of industry in between. But guys, the thing, Jaime, as somebody who understands and has such a wonderful breadth and depth of the history of this game, it oozed it. And it included the golf course itself. Every day it changed by virtue of the wind directions. It was an education for me on things way beyond the bounds of the game of golf, Jaime. But the golf course itself has really rich historical footnotes to it.
Well, thanks, Gary, for that intimate, just recollection. I mean, it's amazing how much depth you have there at Seminole. But for me, it was always, this was Hogan's place. When I first started reading about golf, I remember reading Dan Jenkins's book, The Best 18 Golf Holes in America, and the 6th hole was Seminole, and it was an essay about Seminole, and it was about how Hogan loved it so much and how he prepared there for the Masters every year. And actually, it turned out to be probably Hogan's favorite place in the world, because those 3 or 4 weeks he spent were also very much friendly with the membership, but they gave him a lot of space. He just worked on his game. He loved the golf course, as you mentioned, because of the design and the variation of the wind and all the control and precision it required. And then beyond Hogan, though, there were so many others. I mean, Claude Harmon Sr., who, of course, the father of the Harmon spawn teachers, just amazing history in that family. Claude Harmon held a course record. He was the pro there from 1945 into the 50s, held a course record of 60. He said, the reason nobody knew how good a player I was or that I could win the Masters in 1948 was I had this private place to practice all the time, and it was absolutely the greatest training ground you could possibly have as far as developing shots and developing golf skill. So, right down to the clubhouse, and gosh, Bob Sweeney, the guy that played against Arnold Palmer when Arnold Palmer won the U.S. Amateur, he was a Seminole guy, the pro member, and now the TaylorMade Driving Relief. It's just one of the great histories in the game, and now we're going to see it firsthand. It's really been a long wait and a very much anticipated one.
Cookie, part about what we're going to be able to see for the first time later on this afternoon is the fact that this is a Donald Ross golf course. And like the great architects, sometimes he whispers to you in terms of lines that one should take. And then other times your instinct, or maybe better put, your insecurities want you to go elsewhere, only adding a challenge to the shot that will come. You were just there a few days ago. What were your thoughts after your most recent tour?
Well, I can tell you that I have some Zen places that I go to that kind of bring out my inner John Cook as a golfer. Pine Valley, Cypress Point, and certainly Seminole. I was down there on Thursday, drove around the golf course with the great Bob Ford. Bob was explaining a lot of things to me, what was going on. The core Crenshaw renovation plan 2016 through 2018, what they were trying to do, what they were trying to accomplish. They added 9 new tees to lengthen the turn points on up to about 300 yards. So that's where the turning points are. They've extended a couple of the par 3 tees at the 8th and 17. They've taken out about 2,000 trees. Wow. They've cut back some mangroves, and they've just opened the golf course up. I love that look where you just look out and you see golf course. You see green grass. There's very little to zero rough, very little containment. They're working on the sand dunes, Gary. You know how those dunes came in, so they're renovating those sand dunes. They want that golf course to play firm and fast as often as possible. We'll see what we get today. We're not quite sure what we're going to get, but like you said, Matt, Donald Ross challenges you off the tees. Much like the Pete Dye of designs today, where the closer you play to the trouble, the easier the approach shot and the angles into these greens. So you're going to see something so very, very special for the first time. A lot of the great fans of the game are going to see Seminole, and they're going to see it. It's just a magnificent piece of work, Gary. You spent so much time there. I just love it. It's one of my Zen places.
Yeah, Matt, what's interesting so much about Seminole is that, it opened on New Year's Day of 1930. And the people who were at the forefront of this golf club, that commissioned Donald Ross to do what he did. You have to understand, 170 acres is a modest sized piece of land, but the routing is so ingenious and the winds are so instrumental to the way that golf course has to be played. And it doesn't change day to day. It can change hour to hour, and that is what is going to be so interesting for people seeing this, Matt, for the first time, to see if those winds will shift, because from yesterday to today, the models have shifted in terms of the direction of the winds.
Absolutely brilliant, Gary. Very much looking forward to watching it. You guys can as well across the full breadth of the NBC Sports family, including right here on Golf. Our pregame starting at 1:30 this afternoon, and then the coverage picking up at 2 p.m. this afternoon as well. Gary, can't wait for all of us to get back to a place that means so much to you, and I'm sure is going to end up meaning so much to all of us.